about your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.
Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of The Mediator with me, your host, Brian West, here to give you the top 8 headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. Now, as usual, I'll give you the top 8 local headlines and developing news stories that made it first, followed by a movie clip, a skit, a trailer, or something that's going on in the community, or maybe some pictures. And then I'll give you the top 8 international headlines and developing news stories that made it. Ooh-wee! So let's waste no time, folks. Yeah! Ooh! Let's get to it! Story number 1. Hubbard stepping into the senior citizens arena, and Liberty approves fire contract. A fire contract. Hubbard officials are in talks with Scope, that's SCOPE, to help implement more programs for the city's elderly residents. In another headline, Liberty trustees approve a new 3-year agreement with the local firefighters union, according to a front page Vindicator report published January 16th. Now, the 15 full-time members will get a 2% pay increase. According to the article, the fire department's payroll is more than $1 million annually, with fire captains receiving $21 per hour in 2023 and 29.79 cents per hour in 2024 and $30.39 in 2025. Now, pay will also increase for part-time staff members from $1,500 to $1,800 per year. So that's why the story made it in. We're talking money. Big money. It's story number 1. That's why I made it this week. Story number 2. New school zone traffic cameras in operation. School zone traffic cameras are already in operation and will start giving out citations starting February 17th. Now, according to one report, citations will be civil and not a traffic or criminal violation, with fines from $100 to $150. Now, 65% of the money will go to the city and 35% of the money to Blue Line for the cameras. Now, collected money may also be used for various school safety upgrades, according to one report. That's why story number 2 made it this week. Story number 3. The Neil Kennedy Center closes in the heat of the drug and alcohol addiction war. The Neil Kennedy Recovery Center in Youngstown has closed in the heat of the drug and alcohol addiction battle, folks. Now, although the patients have been transferred, the story highlights how hard the drug and alcohol addiction war has been for those on the front lines and how hard it's been for them to keep up financially. Now, the center was closed after Aliquippa, a PA-based gateway rehab terminated an affiliation agreement last year. Now, Neil Kennedy was the nation's first private freestanding alcohol treatment facility. Now, the talk is about keeping the fellowship hall open. The story is still developing. That's why story number 3 made it this week. Story number 4. Most of downtown Youngstown tenants, the downtown tenants at 20 Federal Street, have found a new home. Youngstown officials have to find a way to increase the morale for downtown businesses and residents. This is a fact. This is after tenants were told to evacuate the 20 Federal Place building. Then that later made some headlines because the tenants were made aware that the current plans to rebuild had been stalled, and the mood of downtown Youngstown ever since then has been a bit flaky. Ever since the 20 Federal Place saga has been unfolding and word has been getting out. Now, the article published January 15th goes on to mention how some tenants have already relocated. Now, this is differing from other pieces. The article then goes on to mention why the tenants were let go. So this is other pieces didn't mention this before, but now all of a sudden they're telling why 20 Federal Street had to let these people go. Now apparently the city was losing $600,000. They had lost $600,000 in 2022 because rent was kept low in the building for years. And during the COVID-19 restrictions, the building's food court was not charged rent for most of 2022. So this is clearing up a lot of why they evicted the tenants, but still the people say they broke their leases. But like I said, they've moved on. Now most of the tenants have relocated relocated and have gone on to record positive feedback while in their new location. That's why story number 4 crept in this week, because somehow morale has to be boosted downtown after the decisions, especially if they do not plan to move forward with the plans on 20 Federal. That's why story number 4 made it in. Story number 5. City Council must make a decision on the DoubleTree by Hilton. This is adding another morale story. Now, City Council is back to the drawing board for the DoubleTree Hotel. Now, this time is to refinance bank debt incurred from energy efficient improvements. Now, the discussion is about a program that allows the hotel to pay what is owed over 25 years from the hotel's property taxes. Now, it's important to mention that the hotel owes $30 million in loans for the building, including a $700,000 loan to the city. So story number 5 crept in this week. Story number 6. Boardman makes headlines for a record number of grants. Now, according to a report by J.T. Whitehouse, a staff writer for the Vindicator, Boardman exceeded $100,000 in many grants from a foundation formed in 2009. Now, the article goes on to explain how a program formed by the school to seek donations from the community held fundraisers and provided teachers with the ability to purchase programs, materials, and equipment to enhance student education. So this article goes on to explain that this program has been a success for the school. The article also mentions most of the program's funding. It is most of the programs that have been funded. This article is a must read, especially for those who are running schools and want to know how Boardman was able to pull this off. Big story number 7 and the top 2 local headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. Folks, I have been called every name in the book in my lifetime, but I hope one day that people will finally say something good about what I've done with my time, and that is stay and try to keep people informed with this program. So you can't talk, it ain't all bad. They can crucify me, they can talk about me, but I hope they got something good to say about what I've done with my time in mediation. Woo-wee! I'm on the right track, baby. Let's get these top 8, do a top 2 stories. Story number 7. City Board of Control approves $3,586,222 in ARP funds. Now, the city's Board of Control has approved a contract to spend up to $3,586,222 in ARP funds authorized by City Council. It's been authorized. Now, what got the story in is the $2 million revolving loans programs that will help small businesses. So they're saying they're going to use some of this money to grow and generate new employment opportunities. Now, these are the businesses impacted by COVID-19. So these will be the businesses that have been impacted by COVID-19 and are having trouble acquiring funds from traditional lending institutions. That's a good idea. Now, website information and applications for the program are already in progress. That's why story number 7 made it to the top 2 this week, because anytime you're talking business and helping businesses, you're talking about productivity, jobs, economic development. That's big business. That's money flowing through the system. That's why story number 7 made it this week. Story number 8 and the top local headline and developing news story that made it this week. Folks, I may not be glistening in public money and public financial money. I may not be the best of everything, but at least I'm giving you something to hold on to. I'm giving you the Mediator program to stand for. I'm giving it to you. It's free, and if you want to be a contributor, you decide it anyway. How good of a deal is that? Ooh, that's sacrifice, baby. Story number 8. A number of issues have Youngstown officials in the hot seat. A lot of issues. They have them in the hot seat. Here are a number of them, folks. Here's to keeping Youngstown officials on the radar and in the hot seat. First, you have the lawsuit involving Ricky Morrison of Poland. The story alone caused the Vindicator to publish a full-page report on the story. Now, Morrison was apparently fired for supporting the candidacy of Gino DeFabio, now who ran against incumbent Commissioner Carol Righetti. Now, Rigetti won, and Morrison was fired while undergoing cancer treatment. He was later reinstated, causing a lot of confusion and now lawsuits. So Rigetti and DeFabio has been caught in the mix. Now, the bad chill can deal also has been keeping local officials in the hot seat. Now, the continued bad news about cost increase in the 20 Federal Place deal is also keeping them in the hot seat. And the last one is the continued problems is what appears to be the continued problems in the local education arena and the challenges that local educators are facing to improve test scores and meet demands imposed by the state. These are all the issues that are keeping the local officials in the hot seat and on the radar, especially if they want to keep their job and get reelected. That's why Sterling Rate made it to the top this week, folks. Well, folks, those are our top 8 local headlines and developing news stories that made it. I'll be right back with the top 8 international headlines. So don't you go anywhere. You're the Mediator. Me, Brian West. I'll be right back.
Tune in and don't forget to subscribe to Method 8 Inc. YouTube channel. You can also watch free public entertainment. And don't forget to show some support by visiting www.method8inc.com by buying something, clicking something, watching something, or just reading something. You can also sponsor a program as well. That's www.method8inc.com.
What does Method8inc.com Media Center have that I need?
Small prints, event consulting, photography, business consulting, technical consulting, entertainment consulting, fundraising advice, event videography, movies, news, publishing, media, books, entertainment, acting, broadcasting, public relations, access to the visual and performing arts, ink and black ink refills, audio recording, graphic design, theater, minor computer and cell phone repair, and they're located at 5648 Market Street in Boardman, Ohio from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. every Monday through Friday. The list goes on and on.
Method8inc.com. Buy stuff, watch stuff, or read stuff.
Oh yeah! And yes, we are chipmunks.
Welcome back. Now it's time to get to the top 8 international headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. Folks, if you learn one thing, everybody now seems like they want to be a politician. I don't know how this happened. I don't know if it's because of all the news outlets, but everywhere you go, politicians in the political arena is being put in the forefront of the news. Politicians have become celebrities. Big Obama money, Trump money. I mean Biden money. Politicians are on the Late Show, TV show. Little kids are talking about politicians. One school, they said they had a problem with a little kid bust somebody in the face for their political views. We have to focus on this, folks. Traditional music radio, where you get the Julie Jones, you get your Julie Jam going on, and you get your seasoning of rich music enthusiasts, are now talking politics. They're talking about who to vote for, what politics are doing, how did this happen? How did politics become everybody's coffee in the morning and everybody keeping them awake at night, folks? Everybody on the workroom floor talking politics. Politicians. Everybody wants somehow to be a politician. Most of them. Football players, comedians, the list goes on and on. Yep. Well, I'm here to let you know. And if you need a place to take a break and just hear the news straight, flat out how it is, with a little touch, sprinkle of sweet love and peace and hope for the future, you've tuned into the right spot, folks. Well, that's our subject for this week. Politicians, and how everybody wants to be a politician. How everybody's talking politicians. Let's get to it. Story number 1. TSA finds an 84 millimeter caliber weapon at a Texas airport. I used to be a gunner's mate. I hope I have that correct. That's an 84 millimeter caliber weapon. That's a big barrel. TSA finds undeclared 84 millimeter caliber weapon. Undeclared is the key word, weapon, after checking luggage at a Texas airport. The Fox News report goes on to say that the owner advised the TSA agents that the item was a demilitarized rifle that was to be used as an exhibit demo item at a SHOT show in Vegas. That's a SHOT show in Vegas. Now, this story is still developing. The current climate of negligent weapon activity in America is what got this story in. That's like, what in the world are you doing with that big of a weapon trying to get through TSA? Big head. Story number 2. What does food have to do with Putin's war? According to one BBC report, Putin is weaponizing food. That's according to the report. Now, the article goes on to explain how the war has caused supply issues and driven up the price of natural gas, forcing farmers to raise food prices while increasing the pressure on consumers worldwide. Is Putin doing this intentionally? Now, another talking point in the article explains how Russia stockpiled fertilizer for domestic use last year. And while its exports declined, and the record prices paid for the fertilizer led to a 70% increase in export revenues. So this is in the headline. Now, this is according to a UN Food and Agriculture Organization. Now, if the story keeps gaining steam, the poorest people will be affected the most. The story is still developing. That's why story number 2 made it in this week. Story number 3. Who's to blame for China's business policies? One Department of Justice report claims that Ying Jingho King, a former employee, these are the great Chinese names of America. Now, he was a former employee of General Electric Power. He hid confidential files stolen from his employers. Now, the information stolen by Hing, if you want to be specific, related to the design and manufacturing of gas and steam turbines. Now, including turbine blades and turbine seals, according to a BBC report. Now, the information was sent to his accomplice in China to benefit Chinese companies and universities. Now, this adds more fuel to the fire regarding China and U.S. business relations. He Hing Huing. That is a tough name, but he is under the radar now. Hing Jing Huing. Wow. Big. Story number 4. COVID in decline. How? COVID-19 killed fewer people in the U.S. in 2022, but according to CNN Health, it is still a leading cause of death. COVID-19 has killed more than 1 million people in the United States, with life expectancy being cut by nearly 2.5 years since 2020. Now, the talk is about how COVID is in decline, and there could be a few factors like immunity adaptation. We've adapted, or it could be the vaccines, or maybe just a maxed out strain. Maybe COVID is finally maxed out. Now, with recovery news still making headlines, the data is showing that somehow the world is in the process of moving on from COVID-19, which could be some good news. That's why story number 4 made it this week. Well, folks, those are our top 4 international headlines and developing news stories that made this week. I'll be right back with the top 4. Let's hope I get these names correct, especially the Chinese names. I'll be right back here in the Mediator. Me, Brian West. Don't go anywhere. If you want to check out the stories that almost made it in or did make it in, go to our Twitter feed on our website. Check out everything. All of the sources are there. And go to the website. It's method8inc.com. Method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program. Welcome back. Now it's time to get to the top 4 international headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. Folks, if you have not noticed, older America and older world, the older generations is having a harder time keeping up with the younger generation. The younger generation is having a hard time keeping up with the older generation. Older generation does not understand that much about technology, so they get a little bit upset on the phone with the bill collectors. I caught a little whiff of it one day. I came over my mom's house. I got to keep an eye on my mama and my daddy all the time, because they seem to get into it with these bill collectors, because everything is computerized now, and you can't be late or they'll shut you off. So I come in the house and I look at my mom. I say, Mom, why you look so upset? What's going on? Oh, they're going to cut off, bro. I need $250,000. Oh, Lord, $250,000. That's big money. I said, what's going on? Said, here's the phone to the bill collector. Call him. I call him. I say, well, what's going on? You talking about Bobby like that? What you doing about Bobby? Come to find out, she had been late on a lot of her payments. She had, they had somehow, couldn't believe it. But come to find out, I went to go ask around. I had to go ask a few friends of mine. They said, man, we have the same problem with my parents, man. I didn't stop. I didn't put together money for my parents. I didn't put some money to the side. If we're going to pay them, we're going to pay them. If she's going to pay them, she ain't going to pay them. It's a bill. So what? They shut it off. They shut it off. I said, damn, I'm not the only one. Technology, too. Can't keep up. Technology has changed everything, folks. And that is a story for the week. People can't keep up. Older folks can't keep up. But the younger folks are trying, especially with the college bills, folks. Well, let's waste no time. Let's get to these top four so I can roll out. Check out my mama. Check out my daddy. Let's get to it. Story number 5. Mixed opinions about America's involvement in Ukraine. Now, there are so many stories in circulation about America's involvement in Ukraine. Some speak on the Biden family's involvement. Some people are speaking on that. Some people say it's NATO allies. Some others may gear towards Putin's plans to eliminate Ukraine, period, as a period. And he wants to just get them off the map. So there's so many stories in circulation of why America is over there. Now, this story highlights a leader who appears to have a plan and a leader who has invaded a neighbor to achieve a purpose and to carry out his plans. Now, whatever the purpose is remains a mystery, but apparently Putin knows something that maybe we all just don't know. Now, analysts continue to point out the obvious when it comes to Putin, but a high number of U.S. taxpayers are not happy with America's involvement in Ukraine. Now, every day, the informed citizens continue to plead for answers on the truth behind the war in Ukraine and what really caused it in the first place, and why everybody is all of a sudden over there or trying to get involved. That's why story number 5 made it this week. Story number 6. Why are so many people dying so young at an early age? That's not good. A 14-year-old girl is being charged with the murder and the shooting of an 11-year-old boy in Dallas. Stories about the death of young people continue to hit the headlines even as global life expectancy has risen. Now, the biggest factors causing young people to die early seems to be guns and violence. Now, USA Today reported that a mother and her 2 sons were found frozen to death in a field near Detroit. Now, according to the article, the mother suffered mental health problems and thought somebody was trying to kill her. Now, she was only 35, so that's pretty young. Now, another case of a mother and her son freezing to death also made headlines because they were homeless. So these stories are continue to creep into the headlines, asking the question of why are so many people dying so young? That's why story number 6 almost made it to the top 2 this week. Wow, big headline. Story number 7 and the top 2 international headlines and developing news stories that made it this week, folks. Whew, story number 7. Folks, I'm doing this. I'm getting through these stories for you to keep you informed. Whew. How much more? How much more can I give? I don't have much. I'm bringing you something to enlighten you, to keep you knowing, to keep you informed. Whew. Story number 7. Is America's two-party system the problem? Oh my goodness. Whew. The battle hymn of the Republic. My eyes have seen the light of the coming of the Lord as troops are marching on. I hope those are the words. If they are, please forgive me. The battle hymn of the Republic. The Republicans, the Democrats keep fighting it out. On just about every level, the American people are talking politics, and on just about every level, Americans are divided on so many issues as people keep fighting and debating the facts. One story by the BBC goes in detail explaining an alleged plot by a Republican candidate, Solomon Pena. He was 39, who he conspired with and paid 4 other men to shoot into the homes of 4 local politicians. Now, this is yet another story highlighting the continued extremes in the diaspora of political movements. That's why story number 7 almost made it to the top this week. I hope this has not become our Achilles heel. Story number 7 almost made it to the top. Big head. Story number 8 and the top. Ooh, international headline and developing news story that made this week. I'll be out of here. I wanna be rich. Oh, I wanna be rich. Apparently, on that quest, people are getting in debt, trying to be rich. Whew. Story number 8. Debt is hanging on in the headlines, folks. Folks, everyone is now talking the reset button due to the world's growing debt problems. According to a CNN business report, the amount sits at a staggering $300 trillion. That's the world. The U.S. is also facing yet another debt crisis because they have a critical decision to increase the national debt ceiling. The world's debt problems are complicated because they require sacrifice, which is hard to do while in need. The U.S. national debt sits at a staggering $31 trillion. The story is still developing because I want to be rich, but I got to take money to make money. And a lot of people can't make that money. That's why story number 8 made it this week. Well, folks, those are our top 8 local and international headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. I hope you get something out of today's program. I always get something out of doing the research. As usual, I'd like to thank all the news outlets, the journalists, the people on the front lines, the media, the reporters, everybody. You deserve all the credit. I am just the mediator navigating your stories to keep people informed. If you want to help me out or help Method 8 out anyway, all you do is visit the website on the screen, buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor the program. Or you can stop at the store at 5648 Market Street and show us some love. You can buy something or do something to just shake my hand and give me some encouragement if you don't have no money. Well, folks, I am out of here. I'll be back next week looking through over 200 more stories to keep you informed. Have a good week, everybody. Thank you for tuning to The Mediator with me, Brian West. Peace.
If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.